Okay, so as I mentioned briefly, we really most of you have been through the actual training in terms of if you're a first time subscriber, how do we navigate the site, where are things placed, all that kind of stuff. This isn't so much going to be that. This will be more along the lines of maybe just clarifying some of the new layout and design that we have with our new platform that we launched back in November of last year, obviously. And then also just some questions that we get pretty frequently in terms of customizations and things like that. So like I said, I'll just go through some of the ones we already have. But then if you have a question that is a follow-up or it's in relation to what we're already talking about, just interject, turn your microphone off and just say, hey, Jamie, or hey, Ian, not quite following you in that, or what about this? And that's totally fine. If it relates to something kind of completely different, just save it, and then we'll circle back and answer that question afterwards. Okay, so first one we have is the number one question we get probably on a weekly basis. It's to do with customizations and jingles, which we now call Singables. And I'm gonna, leave the whole why do we call them Singables to Ian. He's gonna answer that in a little bit. But basically, the question that we get is, how, our most popular product. Let me start by saying that is our customization of jingles or Singables. The reason for that is because you can now present to a client or give it to a client as a signing bonus a completely unique jingle with their name, with their tagline attached to it for $200. So it's a one-time fee of $200 that you can now go and completely wow your client with. So we get this question all the time, how do you customize them? And we actually do have a video tutorial that's dedicated to that. Now, the only thing is that it was for our older site, and it is a little bit different on the new site. The principle's the same, but how you get to it is a little bit different. So we're gonna start by just walking you through the process if you were to want to customize one of our jingles or music beds. And Ian, what I'll do is I'll just kind of set it up, and then I'm gonna actually have you go through the customization process, okay?
Okay, cool.
So let me share my screen here, and just let me know everyone can see that hello Jamie screen. Nod your head, yes. Good to go, awesome. Okay, so let's jump right over to music. This is where we're gonna find anything to do with singing and with music. I'll give you a quick recap. We have our website and our platform divided into two sections. One is ads, which is anything to do with business specific. I'm gonna get, if you guys maybe might mute your microphones. I'm getting some pretty aggressive noise on my end here, so just mute your mic if you can. Don't make me single you out. Mark, it was you, wasn't it? He's laughing. No, okay. Okay, so as I was saying, we have our site that's now kind of divided into two categories, ads and music. And ads are anything to do with, commercials, business specific things, scripts and fully spec'd campaign spots. Music, on the other hand, is kind of our catch-all. And that's where it's anything to do with, sonic IDs or audio logos or just music beds without singing. And then we have our Singables, also known as jingles. You might have noticed that we've added that in brackets over here just to help kind of clarify. These are the same thing, we're just giving them a different name. And again, Ian's gonna touch on that in a little bit. So the question we get is, how do I customize the Singables? I've heard, I'm gonna single out here, Singables. I've heard a particular, example, let's say, more than a cure. Let me just play this so you guys can get a bit of an idea for this one.
More than a cure.
Let me actually do another one here.
Get moving with us.
Okay, so that's a bit better of an example where there's a bit of a lead up and then we have the tagline, get moving with us. So the question is, how do I want to put my client's name in that, and how do I do that? Or I actually have a better tagline that my client's been using for years, but I really like that audio logo or that little singable and melody. Can we customize it? And the answer to all of those is yes. So we'll use this get moving with us as an example. Ian, do you want to just take over on the screen and show them how? If you were a subscriber, you heard that get moving with us idea. how do I then take that to the next step and make it custom for my client?
So I'll go to where you were, Jamie, here on Singables. Get moving with us. So when you're looking at the site, when you first get into one of the sides, the ads or the music, you'll see the list view that we have here where you can scroll through and open up all the products. What we've added is this plus sign right here. So at face value, you have your product image, the title, the category that it's in, Singables in this case. You have your previews and a couple other features here, which we'll touch on later. But if you click this plus button, you get a little bit more happening. So you get a description of the whole piece, but you also get underneath the download button, this pink customize button. And this is a feature on all of our products, not just the Singables, but since we're talking about Singables, this is where we are. So you would click on that customize button and it will open up this form. And really straightforward: name, email, your phone number, the title of the music. We'll need that, your client's business name, your client's existing tagline, should they have one, and your client's web address. And if you keep scrolling down, there's a couple just multiple choice things here. Like, what would you like it to include? You can have it just sing your client's name, just the client's tagline, a blend of the two, or if it's something like get moving with us and you really like that tagline, we can add your client's name to this existing sing, which is really great way to, if your client doesn't have anything solid in terms of a tagline or a statement, then we can just use an existing tag that we have and add your client's name to it, and then all of a sudden they have a really great strong piece of audio branding. Below that, would you like a male singer, a female, or you can get rid of the headache and just have us decide which we think would be best, given the style of music bed, the industry, and just kind of the overall feel that you're going for. So underneath that, are there any other details you would like to mention? So sometimes you might say, hey, like, this is a client's tagline, but we're thinking something like this. Or maybe you're not totally sold on the music bed, but you like something kind of like it, need some different options. So this is just a section where you can add any sort of notes or any other ideas that would kind of steer us in the right direction before we move forward with the customization. You can add a voice memo or an audio sample if you want, if you have a melody in mind, or just want to leave us a quick voice memo with some ideas. So once you have all that filled out, submit details, and then underneath that, you can go to submit your payment. So for all of our Singables, for the customizations, it's $200. It's just the one time, and that helps us cover the production costs and the time and the singers and all of that. So once we receive all this information in the payment, what we'll do is we take all of that info and we'll demo the Singable for you. So we'll add just a single voice. So it will highlight what we're thinking melody wise with the tagline, or if you needed us to come up with any extra ideas for taglines, we'll do some back and forth with that. But ultimately, we'll get to a point where we demo it for you, and then you can take that demo to the client to get approval. And then once we have that final approval from you and your client, then we'll go into full production where we'll hire in some singers, get the main vocal down, get some harmonies and vocal stacks, make it sound really pro. And then when we deliver it, you'll get the multiple different cuts of it. So a lot of times, if we're doing one of our older jingles that were with like a 30-second music bed or had multiple music bed versions of it, you'll get multiple cuts per music bed. And then with the audio logos getting customized, we'll do the same thing. We'll have some different options. That way it gives you a lot more flexibility for copy. It gives your production a little bit more flexibility and some different range of what you can do with it, as opposed to just being stuck with a sing in and a sing out. So when we deliver it, it is a whole package that you receive. And yeah, so that's kind of what it looks like customizing one of our singables on the site.
Thanks, Ian. And just to follow up on that again, like it's clearly one of our most popular products for the simple reason that you now again have a jingle or a singable or audio logo, whatever you want to call it, that is unique and custom to your client. And it's if any of you guys follow the Veritonic audio logo index that gets released every year, they talk about what's the most effective way to have your clients name remembered, which is what we're trying to get, top of mind recall. We're trying to keep our clients' names in the listener's in the listener's brain, and the most effective way to do that is with music. And so when they release these audio indexes every year, they study hundreds of kind of the national brands, audio logos and singables and jingles, and what are the most effective ones. Well, at the top of the list every single year are the ones that have their names sung. It's not saying that the ones that don't have a name in it or that are just sonic, right, like just music, aren't effective. They're just not as effective as the ones that have the client's name in it, right? Because when they survey a bunch of people and they play them the examples, if it's just a few notes, if they've heard it enough and they've associated it with the brand, yeah, they might be able to recall it. But if they play an audio logo or a jingle that says the client's name, well, they're going to say, oh yeah, right, that's State Farm, or that's Arby's or whatever. So really popular, extremely useful product. We did just have to kind of up the price. We used to charge $150 for this customizations, and now it's $200. It's just simply because costs are going up everywhere. But that's the first time we've upped that price in 8 years. So we're really trying to keep that down, keep it affordable, so that you guys can go to your clients and offer it to them. A lot of our, and I'll maybe even let a few of you guys speak into this, but a lot of our subscribers even just add that in as a signing bonus because they're using it to get an annual contract. Or a 6-month or something. So a $200 hit is not a big deal when you're landing a bigger contract. And the client's happy because they now have a custom audio brand for them. So I'm going to do a follow-up question, which kind of relates to the same thing in terms of singables and jingles and audio logos and, and customizing them. And the question is, can I customize a music bed with my client's name, or do I only have? Sorry, let me start this again. Can I customize a music bed with my client's name and tagline, or can I only do customizations with singables? So it's a great question. And a lot of people do think that if I can kind of bring your attention to this little product category here, you'll notice that we had clicked on singables, which only gives you products that have singing in it. Well, if we click on just music beds, and let me just share a couple of these here. I keep forgetting to share my sound. There we go. And most of you guys know this, but this is just a music bed, right? There's no singing. All of us in radio are no strangers to just music beds. These are meant for commercials and whatever else. So the question is, could I add my client's tagline or name to that, even though it's not in the singables category? And the answer is yes, 100%. Any product on our website, you can take it and customize it to suit your client. So this might blow some of your minds, but I mean, this all of a sudden opens up. Like I said, if we were just in our singables category, I think we currently have about 350 singables, which is a lot. But if you now open up to music beds, we've just now opened it up to over 1,000 unique music beds that could be used for a custom jingle or singable. So if you don't find what you're looking for in the singables category, you can now go into this music bed category, listen to, maybe you've got a client who's got like a Mexican restaurant. You get the point. Whatever it might be, we can add a sing to that. Okay, so the sky's the limit. As long as it's on our website and it's one of our products, we can customize that for you. And that's the exact same process that Ian showed you, right? With the little plus symbol. You click on that, and now this product is ready to be customized. It's the same process you're going to go through, and like Ian said, you're going to fill out some of the details, make the payment, and we're going to get to work. Okay, so great question. Yes, you can use music beds, you can use audio logos. Basically, anything on our site can be customized for your client. Okay. All right, let's move along here. I've got to be conscious of the time. This one is actually, Ian, why don't we jump to this other question, which is, what are Singables? And we've kind of talked about it a little bit. What are Singables and where did the jingles go? Since our platform launched back in November, we get this emailed to us about once a week. So yeah. What are Singables and where did the jingles go?
Yeah. So Singables are jingles. We've just kind of rebranded what they are because we found that a lot of times when you think about a jingle, you think about that traditional 30-second Barry Manilow masterpiece. I always think of the when George from Seinfeld was doing that one commercial for McDonald's where it's the keep the hot hot and the cold cold, and it came delivered in a styrofoam thing. But so we didn't want to give that preconceived notion that that's all that jingle or singable could be, because obviously we have audio logos on the site that are just 3 to 5 seconds that are really just as effective, but it looks a little bit different than what their traditional jingle in most people's minds are. So when we talk about singables, it's not that we've gotten rid of jingles, we've just expanded what the definition of a jingle really is.
Right. It's the best way to say it. It's just anything that involves singing. And we did find that we don't obviously do so much work with the client directly. In fact, we don't. We deal with you guys, and you guys get it. But sometimes, if we're doing sort of standalone, or if we're doing some other work on the side in terms of direct to consumer, we just find that the word jingles has sort of a bit of a negative connotation where it's like, oh, that's back in the 80s and 90s. We don't use those anymore. And even though we don't agree with that, we don't want there to be any objections to hinder the fact that, look, this is probably the most effective asset your brand is going to have, a musical based branding statement, or singable. And so we don't want to use the word jingles if that's going to get in the way. So we find that the best objection is saying, oh, we don't call them jingles anymore, we call them singables. And that's because they come in all these different formats now. And so that tends to kind of knock away the objection. And so anyway, we're going to stick with it, and we're okay to keep saying this is where jingles are, that they're just called singables. We'll keep this little helpful in brackets jingles title there for the time being, but eventually it'll just become second nature to you guys. So okay, let's move on to, okay, we have a question about the lock feature. And so it's a bit longer one, so I'm just gonna surmise, and they're just wanting to know if I've sold a singable, let's say, or let's, for the sake of also showing some of our other products, let's go over to the ads. It's the same principle. But it's all to do if I sell a jingle or singable, or I sell a campaign and a client's using it on air, how do I protect it so that my colleagues aren't downloading those same products and trying to sell them? And again, if you've been in any of our kind of 101 training, you'll know about this lock feature. I will preface this by saying we have had some issues with it as of late, and we're working on it. We feel we've got it resolved, but we do apologize because it's been a bit finicky. However, the way it's supposed to work and the way it's working right now is that if let's say, for example, the Joneses campaign, which is a fully spec'd campaign for a garden center. If you've sold this campaign, whether it's in script form or in full spec, you want to lock it, right? You don't want your colleagues to be downloading it. So it should be as simple as clicking on this little lock icon, which is underneath the actions column. And you're going to notice it goes from gray to purple. And that's going to block it. In fact, actually, Ian, why don't you share your screen? Because right now on my end, you're going to see I can still download this. But on Ian's side, once he refreshes his page, you're going to see that it becomes now unavailable. So, and if you expand that product, so press that little plus symbol again, it's now going to tell you that this product is currently being used by subscriber one, or it'll say the name of the person. And so again, this is just a safety lock feature that now anyone that's in your group cannot go in and download it. And they also know who this product is associated with. So that's, again, essentially, and it's supposed to be as simple as it is, on how you lock products. And the nice thing too is that we've bundled them. So obviously in this scenario, you're seeing two identical products. Well, they're not quite identical because one is the fully spec'd version, right? Let me just play a sample of it.
Hey, John, spying on the Joneses again?
Oh, hey, Stan. No, I'm just admiring their yard. Ever since they hired no...
Okay, so that's the fully spec'd, ready to present version. And then right below it, you see just the script version, okay? So, but the nice thing is that once I locked the one campaign, it simultaneously locks any other products that are related to that. And where that becomes really helpful is in our music side, because we have a lot of crossover when it comes to our Singables. And if I can kind of quickly navigate to, I should have prepped, well, here's one, okay. So here's an example where we have one music bed with multiple sing lines, right? And let me just play a little sample so you can hear. Okay, so that product, that music bed is called Swamp Rock. And then the tagline associated with it was called We Get Work Done. Well, right below it, you're going to notice the exact same photo with the exact same title, Swamp Rock. And that's because, again, it's the same music bed with a different tagline. Let me just play the example.
Where the food is hot and drinks are cold.
Okay, so same music bed, same melody, different tagline. Well, if you were to sell this, let's say, for example, Jennifer was to go and sell this to one of her clients, a pub that sells great hot food and cold drinks, and she now has sold that. Well, as soon as we lock that, or as soon as Jennifer locks it, it's now going to go and lock all of the associated music beds that are the same, right? Because just because the tagline's different doesn't mean you can go and sell that same music bed with a different tagline. That would be ridiculous, because you would now have two identical music beds in the same market with different taglines. It's crazy confusing. So again, with this safety lock feature, once you click on it, it's now going to take that whole product and any associated music beds or products with it and make it unavailable to the rest of your group. Okay. And
Hey, Jamie.
then, yes.
Hi. Hey, I have a question. So I'm
Uh,
glad you're covering this. This was my question. So in my market, I'm pretty much had been the only one using your service. And so, but finally, some of the other people in my market are starting to check it out. And so I don't know if I had marked off or locked them on the old website and it didn't transfer over. But is there a way, so I went into my past purchases and I can see all my invoices, but it just says the name of the client, the customization. Is there a way to find out all the music beds that I've used already and
100%.
mark them off so that my coworkers don't use it?
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. That's a great question. I'm glad you're bringing it up because, like I mentioned, we have from the transition from our old platform to the new one, we have experienced a couple of bugs, and so I apologize for that profusely. And yes, we have track and record of all of that stuff, and so we can go in with you and just individually make sure all of the products that are sold to clients are locked again. And like I said, I believe we've got it fixed. My developers promised that it's all, there's no more glitches. So we can.
I just want to contact you and get a list just so I can go through and do it just to make sure it's done for everything in the past and then going forward. But I just want to make sure I take care of the previous ones I've done. It's only going to be like 6.
You got it. We'll definitely follow up with you after this and get that. And that goes for any of you guys if you've noticed, hey, we had them locked over here, but now they're not anymore, or you just want us to go and verify. Again, we have access to all that and we can help you do it. So just reach out to us, okay? So, I'll wrap that up, but that's a great feature that you definitely want to use, especially if you've got, 5, 10, 15. I know some of our groups have, up towards 60 sellers. And so I just go, we have to be able to lock these products so that we're not double selling them to clients. Okay. Okay. How are we doing for time here?
2:30.
Okay. So let's jump to, I have a question about, I have one more that I'll tackle, Ian, and then we can get into the last couple here. But one of the questions that I have, again, which relates to this new platform that we've launched. And on our old platform, we were really limited in terms of how you could navigate to get to products. We had a search feature, it didn't work so well. We had a filter by feature, but it wasn't very granular. It just kind of was more of an industry thing. So the question is, what is the difference between the search feature and the filter by feature? And let me I'll show you and I'll demo kind of the differences. The end goal is the same, and that's to find the products that you're looking for as quickly as possible. How you get about them is a little bit different. And I'll just kind of say that, with the search feature, which most of us like because you just type in what you're looking for, it is the easiest, it's the quickest, but the problem is that it might pull up more results. And so therefore it takes a lot longer to sift through all the results to find what you're looking for. As where the filter by, and again, I'll show you what I'm talking about, the filter by feature, it might take you longer to get through the list, but once you find what you're looking for, you'll really be able to zero in on the products and you won't have to filter it. So you won't have to sift through the products. So let me just demonstrate on kind of what that looks like. And again, it's to each his own. We have both options there for you because we know that everyone has their own workflow and whatever else. But for example, so the search feature is right up top here, obviously. And this is what I said, if you were looking for a music bed and you wanted to find a music bed that was, happy, right? Because we don't search for music beds based on a business, right? I mean, and when I say music bed, I'm talking about there's no singing, it's just the straight music bed. So we're not going to type in funeral music bed. There's no such thing as a funeral music bed, but there is, a music bed that would maybe be somber or possibly sad or light or nostalgic. So those are the moods that we're going to be searching for. And so, yes, you type that in, press enter. That's going to quickly give you some results that you can just start now listening through. Okay. But again, there's going to be a lot of results and you have to listen through all of them. If you were to use this filter by section down here, and let's get a bit more granular. Let's say, I'd like a singable. So first of all, we can just click on that singable and that's going to take away anything that doesn't have singing in it. And then let's say I would like, happy or inspirational feel-good singables. Okay. That's going to give you kind of more of a granular, focused results. And you're same thing. You're going to go through and preview them. But those are the two different ways of going about it. And I'll demonstrate it one more time over on the ad side, because this is where it's really important, mainly because we know if we're going to look for a commercial or a script or anything, again, that's ad based, well, unless you're prospecting, even then you know what you want, but typically you know right what you're looking for, right? So if you want to search auto dealer, that's great, you can do that. Again, you're going to have a lot to sift through because we're pulling in scripts and spots. If you want to start kind of narrowing in, well, I only want to hear stuff that I can present. Well, then you're going to click on spots, right? And so this is the filter by down here on the left-hand side, the filter by feature that I'm referring to. You're going to click on spots and you're going to click on automotive. And right now you've got, well, you've still got lots of results, and that's because it's a big category. But what I can say is if you didn't do that filter by, you'd probably have about 50 results that you'd have to go through and listen or read the scripts. As where with this, you've got 10. Okay, so it really, okay, you've got more. I'm making a liar of myself, probably because I picked the biggest category. Let's go home and garden. Actually, let's go right down to the business category. And this is where it gets extremely granular because I can go right to, let's say, banking, for example. Instead of doing financial and getting a bunch of other results, I'm going right to banking. And because I've selected spots, it's giving me one result. We have one campaign that's for a bank, and that is in full spec version.
Once upon a time, there were no.
Okay, so you can preview that. Now you can download it, customize it, or whatever. So again, it's sort of a to each his own on how you want to search for products. It's not like search is better than filter by. You get to do it however you want. Some people, have better success with search. Some people have better success with the filter by, and that's completely up to you. The last thing I'll say about that is on the music side when it comes to our singables or our jingles. And this is where on the old site, again, it felt like maybe it was a little bit more, the feedback we're getting is it was easier to find jingles or singables for businesses. And now because over here we have them according to mood, it's not as easy to find them. So that is a great piece of feedback that we've heard from you guys. And now what we're doing to correct that is and it's a huge job, but it's going into every single individual product that has a sing line and adding, and you can respect how much time this would take, but for example, more than a cure. Okay, well, that could be anything kind of in the medical medical field or health and that kind of thing. And so instead of just saying, oh well, that's meant for a doctor, well, our team needs to go through and come up with any potential business scenario that might work for, and then individually add those keywords into it. And that's what makes the search feature work, right? So you could respect the fact that there's a ton of scenarios. We have over 3,500 products, and each one of those products needs dedicated keywords in order for this search feature to work. So the only reason I say that is because the search feature itself isn't perfect. It's going to sometimes give you results that might not apply, but we're going to do our best to pull up as many results as we can to help you out. As where the filter by section, that's going to give you, again, more granular, more specific results. And so if you have the time to go through that, and as you can see, we've got lots of business categories, that's where you're going to find the most specific thing. Okay, so hopefully that helps kind of differentiate a little bit between search and filter by. We've done lots of talking, which is the point because we're trying to answer some questions, but we have a couple of other things that we could talk about. I would rather open it up to see if there's been any new questions kind of come throughout the time we've been together, or again, if there's anything that you've been kind of came into this with. Let's kind of open the floor now to that. If nothing comes about, we have some other things that we could talk about that'll be beneficial. But let's just take a pause here and give you guys an opportunity to talk, even if it's to kind of give some feedback on what's working for you or what's not working for you. Again, just feel free to unmute your mic and dive in.
You already answered my questions, Jamie, so
Great.
I'm pretty good.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Michelle is what we call a super user. And so if you ever want some tips on how to absolutely crush it with the clients, reach out to her. She's definitely got it dialed in with how to take these products and make them unique to her client and make a whole bunch of money with it.
Thank you.
Okay, that's okay. We have a couple other things that we'll address or that we'll talk about. We've got two other topics that I think will be helpful, which will take us to the end of our time. Again, if you have to leave, no problem. And if any other questions come up in the meantime, just unmute your mic and let us know. So Ian, let me pass it over to you. And I'd love you just to talk a little bit about modifying exist. So this is different than customizing. This is modifying the products yourself in order to create even more products. So what does that look like?
Yeah, so a lot of times what we'll get are our reps coming to us saying, "Hey, I'm looking for say a lawn care or a property maintenance campaign or spot, but I don't see anything on the site." So what we'll do is we'll go through the site and find some spots that are like, you know what, these are actually pretty close. Like these are very usable for what you need. But they might need some modifications. So I'm gonna share my screen here. So this is actually one that I got not long ago, the lawn care, but you see we have the Joneses campaign, which we have labeled as for garden center and landscaping. So if you look at one of those scripts, you know, hey John, spying on the Joneses again. Hey Stan, no, I'm just admiring their yard. Ever since I hired No Name Garden Supply, their grass has been next level. I wonder what their secret formula is. So obviously this is, you know, a garden supply spot. But what we're able to do is instead of dedicating it to just No Name Garden Supply, this will work really well even if you put in No Name Lawn Care. Again, it's within the same industry. It's pretty much the same category. It's just instead of being a store where you would go to buy flowers and seed and stuff like that, or being a landscaping company or a landscaping supply, you could easily take this to like in this voice 3 spot. There's no secret to it. No Name Garden Supply offers quality products and expert advice. By simply changing that to there's no secret to it, No Name Lawn Care offers top quality service and you know, expert workmanship to keep your lawn and gardens looking fabulous. All of a sudden we've taken a garden supply spot and made it work for a lawn care company. So you don't need to use the scripts totally verbatim as they're written. You can even just take something like, with this we have a singable or jingle, the grass is always greener when we're on your side, and that can apply to a bunch of different businesses within this sort of industry to you know, to just kind of get the brain working. You can look at these, and if there's just one line that you find is really speaking to you, or that you're like, hey, I really like this idea, but I'm not sold on the rest of the script, but this would work for something else, then totally use the line as inspiration, or use the tag as inspiration to develop another campaign. Again, you don't have to use these, you know, verbatim right as they are. You can just use ideas or pull different concepts from them and start running with it, which we see a lot of people just using one or two ideas that are in the spot or one or two lines, and then using that as fuel to the creative fire to develop their own campaigns, or utilize a spot for a totally different business than what we have it labeled as. So don't think that because it's labeled, you know, with this again, because it's labeled under garden center, it will only apply to a garden center. You can use that for many different companies within the industry. Other ones that come to mind that are very easy to swap back and forth would be, you know, an auto repair shop or an auto service shop and an auto body shop. We might have some stuff that's written more collision based, but you can take lines out of that and take concepts out of that to use for an auto repair store, or, you know, doing car maintenance. So again, it's one of those things where we're really here to help you guys get the ideas flowing, because we believe that at the end of the day, you know, walking into a client for a recenter, into a potential new sign, walking in there with ideas, more than just walking in with numbers and budgets, you know, that's really what we find helps you guys land the deals, is having those ideas. So don't look at this as just you know, a bank of scripts or a bank of tags and campaigns. Just look at it as a whole idea think tank that we've been developing for over 8 years, that you can utilize and take all of these ideas and turn them into your own, and you know, modify them to fit whatever your clients need. You don't need to take it word for word. So
Yeah, that's a really good point, Ian. And just the whole thing of like he said, just even using it as an idea starter or whatever. A lot of times, if you're looking for something specific and you're going through our library, you might skip over it. Let's say with that same example, you have a lawn care or a landscaping company that you're wanting to present to. Well, you might skip right over garden center because you go, well, it's not a garden center. But again, all it takes is a second to just listen to that campaign if we have a spec version, or read the script and start thinking outside the box a little bit and go, that's actually kind of like Ian said, kind of cross category, some language that could work. And if I just modified this line and modified that line, or used a different singable or something, all of a sudden now I've got a whole other campaign. And that's really how marketing works. We've all heard it's all been done, right? There's nothing new under the sun here. These are all ideas that have been, written and rewritten and used and reused. And I go, repurposed. It's all good. Like these are all, it's memorable. It's, as long as we're kind of following the whole repetition and frequency and those kind of rules, all of these ideas are going to work. So, but just a kind of a helpful little tip and trick is that, don't just kind of go like Ian said, oh, garden center, skip, especially if it's in the same industry. And that's where, we have our filter by industry category. That's helpful because, if you're looking for something in that category, instead of going to the granular down here on the left businesses, well, if you go to, home and garden, you might find some stuff in there that's applicable across categories. And so, I mean, we were even talking when we were kind of going through these questions just about the Joneses campaign. The whole concept of this campaign is, you've got all these neighbors who are kind of spying on their one neighbor who has this immaculate yard. And the whole idea is keeping up with the Joneses. Well, that could be, for kitchen and bath remodel. It could be for, auto repair. I mean, whatever, anything that, a neighbor might be wanting to kind of outdo each other or keep up with the Joneses, so to speak. That's a concept. Now all you do is switch out some of the words and you now have a fully developed campaign, multiple scripts for that client. So, again, it just takes an extra bit of time to go through and read some of those scripts and just start soaking in some of those ideas. Okay, so that's a really good point. And the last thing I'll share is kind of jumping off of that in terms of using our products, finding creative ways to use our products, not just for how we say to use them. So for my example, I'll go to the music side, and so here's an example. Let's click on Singables, and I'm going to use this Get Moving With Us product again. Let me just, for the sake of refreshing, let me just play it one more time. It's a quick one. Get moving with us. Maybe you want just the short sing. Get moving with us. Or maybe you want just the instrumental version. Get the point. Okay, so Get Moving With Us. I think when we wrote this and developed it, we were thinking of a moving company. We were thinking about or even a realtor, right? So it's the whole idea of, come to No Name Realtor and get moving with us, or a moving company, quite literally, get moving with us. Well, don't stop there, right? I mean, this is where we can start kind of being a bit more abstract with how we present these ideas. So a couple of other ideas would be tractor and machinery, right? Get moving with us. Tires, roadside assistance. If you're stuck, get moving with us. Footwear, mortgage specialist, therapist, delivery service, bike shop, power sports, fitness center, right? So the whole idea is that these aren't just a one and done product that is only meant to be, even our team. I mean, when we're writing it and developing it, we might have a specific one in mind. My greatest example is the Hit the Road jingle, which has been massively successful for sellers in multiple markets. We wrote that for a tire store. That was originally for a tire store, which is obviously a great little jingle for a tire store. But we've seen massive success with RV dealers. Obviously, auto dealers would be another one, but RV dealers have really picked up this hit the road jingle. And so there's a perfect example where if we just labeled it tire store jingle, and you're not thinking outside the box, you're really only going to think, well, that's a jingle only for tire stores, and I don't have a tire store client. But if you can start thinking, get moving with us, a physiotherapist helps me get my body moving again, or what else did I say? Bike shop, right? Get moving. I already said physiotherapist. Roadside assistance is a perfect one, right? Stuck on the side of the road, get moving with us. So again, it's that whole thing of just not using our products verbatim. Spend some time with it. Reach out to us. We're happy to help brainstorm. Obviously our time is limited as well, but we're happy to kind of get the ball rolling and give some other ideas to you if you're kind of finding yourself stuck. But if you think about it in that principle, we not only have 3,500 products, we probably have 5,000 products, because you can take them, modify them, not to mention us customizing them for you. All of that mixed together gives you, like Ian said, a massive think tank library of on-demand products that you can use and sell to your clients. So anyway, there's a bunch of stuff that hopefully is a little bit helpful. Hopefully we've been able to answer some of your questions. We've kind of been entertaining maybe doing this on a somewhat regular basis, just to kind of have these, just to dive deeper into what we offer, but also maybe give you guys opportunity to share. Michelle, I think I've talked to you a few times about, hey, would you be interested in kind of letting other sellers know your process on how you've, and so I just go, that kind of stuff. If you think that stuff is useful and helpful to you guys, please let us know. We're constantly trying to find things that are not going to waste your time, but be helpful to you. So we love your feedback. We really do love hearing from you guys. So if that's something that might be interesting and beneficial for your sellers to not only hear from us, but from other sellers in other markets, let us know and we can definitely arrange that. But if there's no other questions, we are coming up a little bit shy of the hour, but that's totally okay. Yeah, everyone's quiet. So that's okay. It's the afternoon. I get it. We appreciate you guys so much. And like I said, this is recorded, so we'll send you a link. If you think that any of your sellers who weren't able to make it today would find it beneficial, let me know. We'll get you the link to it. Otherwise, get out there and sell. We hope things are opening up and doing well in the markets. And if there's anything we can do to help in the meantime, please let us know.
Hey, Jamie.
Yes, Jennifer.
I would definitely like to have the link of the recording.
You bet.
Clearly, a lot of our people didn't make it. So, but I'm not sure. I'm not confident that everybody knows their way around the new platform. So I would like to share it.
You bet. And again, we could do this as well. If you're starting to notice within your team that there's some questions coming up, I mean, it's the last thing we want is for sellers to be frustrated going, oh, I can't figure it out, I'm not using it. Well, that sucks. We want you to use it because there's so much for you to use. And like Michelle, I've used you as an example a bunch of times, but like you said, you guys have been with us for well over a year and you've been using it from the get-go. Some of the other sellers are starting to kind of pick it up. Whatever we can do to encourage that. And sometimes it's just having these sort of, brainstorming sessions or Q&As. And so please let us know if we'd like to do more, if you'd like us to do more of those. But we will at least send you the link so you guys can share that around. And we look forward to hearing about your many successes over the coming weeks and months. And if we can play a role in that, we'll do our best. Right, Ian?
That's right.
Awesome. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk with you soon.
Thanks, Jamie. Thanks, Ian. Bye.